Hello, beautiful people. In this video, I want to talk about. Can you see the spooky season decor? It looks fine, right? It has a LED light inside. It looks sick, you know. Well, going back to the topic. In this video, I want to talk about something that is very personal and that I am studying in my thesis, my PhD program. It is about the microbiota. If you notice, there was a trend in which, like, almost everyone was talking about the microbiota. And the thing is that we know nothing about it. Like, like people pretend to be experts, pretending that we know how to modulate it and how to modify it. And most of the things that we try to use to modulate or change our microbiota don't work. For instance, probiotics. Probiotics are really, most of the time, useless. In some people with colitis, they even flare symptoms, like they can actually activate your immune system and cause you harm. Which is very funny because you see pharmaceutical companies and influencers promoting their own probiotics, and most of them are trash. Sorry to break it down to you, but most of them are trash. And there are some strains that are actually very beneficial. That's a reality. But in general, most don't work. And it's very interesting because the microbiota, it's like a fingerprint for most people. Well, for all people. Like, we have some species that we tend to share, but it's very personal, very peculiar, and it changes throughout the date. But we cannot say exactly if a change is beneficial or not. Of course, like I said, we know some things, but we don't know everything as we want to pretend, or as most influencers pretend to know, or even scientists, doctors. We know that there are some strains that are pathogenic, strictly pathogenic, like Trypanosoma cruzi, some types of parasites, some strains of E. coli. But sometimes, like, we can have some other strains that are in most of the people, but not in everyone cause diseases. Like, I was remembering that the name of this one. It's the one inside the stomach that causes ulcers. Oh shit, I don't remember that one. If I have a, if I remember, I'll say it. You know, but there are some strains of bacteria that don't actually cause, like, disease in most people until there is an imbalance. There is maybe bad nutritional status. There are maybe medicines like corticosteroids or steroids. Well, no, corticosteroids lowering the immune system down, or something, or a lot of stress that numbs the immune system, and so it stops being able to control or to maintain the microbial ecology. Then you have imbalances, and then some of those bacteria that are usually good start causing harm. So, as I said, it's very complicated. It's actually quite difficult. The cool thing about it is that we're starting to have to combine, like, tradition with science. What I mean is that in nutritional science, there is a lot of misinformation also, because nutrition and diet is something very difficult to study. Starting from the fact that you cannot force a person to eat a specific diet for long periods most of the time. So you can have that with clinical trials, but then you have to pay people, or you have to, or the people must be desperate enough to try a diet to like care for their health. So it's quite difficult, like, to study that in a healthy population. Although some people like Mediterranean diets that are tasty and nourishing, some people that are more health conscious sign up for those studies, and now we have healthy people like doing also those studies. But what we can see is that things that tradition told us, like from long ago, are actually good at modulating our personal fingerprint, our personal uh, microbiota. For example, like in the past, grandmas knew that when you got the flu or had some problem in your digestive system, that the most beneficial thing for you was to eat easy to digest foods rich in nutrients and fats and animal proteins. Like we have a trending in vegan diets in which most people are too blind to see and are still healthy enough to pretend that they are doing the best diet in the world, and then you see vegetarians dying, vegans dying, wasting away, getting ill, having IBS, and coming back to eating a regular diet with animal meats. The thing is that animal products produce nutrients in more available ways. For example, retinol, vitamin A, when you consume it from eggs or meats, fish, whatever, it's bioavailable. That means that the body doesn't have to do an extra step to absorb and use that vitamin. But with vitamin A coming from plants like carrots or some types of rice or whatever, since it comes from a plant and plants produce that vitamin A in a slightly different form, the body has to do an extra step to make an enzymatic transformation to that form of the vitamin A so that your cells can consume it. But if you are ill, if you are stressed, if your body is fighting off an infection, then your body doesn't have the energy to actually do that transformation. So what happens then, you don't get enough of that vitamin and it creates a snowball growing and growing in which you have increasing problems, increasing cellular mechanisms failing. And that's the thing, like you need animal proteins. It is also true that you need fiber, that you need like some things from plants because your bacteria likes it, and I am convinced that we are omnivores leaning towards carnivorism. Like we can survive entirely from animal foods only, but we cannot do that from just vegetables. Even if you ferment them, even if you do different types of combinations, like tradition, like aboriginal diets from different parts of the world agree on that. The cool thing is that when you have those diets in people that is get ill from different conditions, from autoimmune conditions to malnourishment to all sorts of things, even infections, if you start giving that people the energy and the nutrients that they need, they recover better, faster. Some people even reverse their diets, their diseases, even autoimmune diseases, because then you don't have like things activating your immune system. And that's another thing, like it is what we eat every day what really changes our microbiota, not a probiotic here and there. There are some that can colonize, but also again you have to be very careful to select the probiotic that will be good for you. Like there are some strains that will provoke an immune reaction in you, and that's normal. Like these are foreign guys, maybe not to you, or well, actually to you, but also to your guys already inside, to your microbes already inside, and they will fight. And sometimes the fight will be too big that you will feel it, and sometimes this guy will just like cause havoc with your immune system. The guy is being a probiotic. So yeah, like it's very interesting. Like for example, there are recent studies talking about ketogenic diets because they work for epilepsy, that retractable epilepsy, which is short for epilepsy that does not respond to medicine. And it works since the 1920s, like 1920s, like it's a valid treatment for epilepsy. You can do it diet alone, or in the studies they have seen that they can do diet with some medicines, reduce meds, and it works like wonders. There are some people that get even more resilient. That doesn't say in the studies, but if you ask or you look for testimonies, like that's what some people say. And then, well, they started to see, well, what does this diet work for this? What does it do to the microbiota? And then you start seeing that it makes a shift. And like I say, it's what you do every day for over a long period of time that determines your health, your microbiota. But they start to see like changes in not only in bacteria, but also you have to see the metabolites and the symptoms. So there are changes in microbiota that relate to reduced symptoms of the epilepsy and other diseases. So then you can start like inferencing that, of course, like changing the microbiota has something to do with health in general. And then you can start like noticing all of these things, like you need animal foods. Tradition was correct in certain aspects. Now we know a bit more of the why at the microscopic level. And well, finally, I wanted just to record this. Maybe someone is watching this that could benefit from it. But like, if you have something like some pains here and there, or colitis, or something, like try to change your diet, like clean it. You don't have to do a ketogenic diet. You could, like the carnivore diet, it's an elimination diet, and then you can start reintroducing things. Maybe you don't have to drop everything. Maybe you can eat meat and some fruits and see what happens. And introduce things, right? Like if you already cannot digest them, but you shouldn't be eating them now. Like you can try, like you don't have to go to those extremes, but you can clean your diet. Like don't eat trash. Like if what we eat every day is what modifies our being and our microbiota, then eating trash, like eating preservatives, additives, gums, won't do you any good. And there are a lot of studies talking about that. Like we are starting to pay attention to that. A fun fact: most additives, colorants, or gums or food additives are not tested like you think they are. Like most of them are not tested in living beings, least in humans. So when an additive is approved, it was just tested in cells cultured in a dish in a lab. And if it doesn't kill them, then the regulation authorities say it's okay, it's fine, use it. But the thing is that these additives only start showing effects when you put them in a combination with other additives, which you know that when you read the labels of something packaged, there are like 30 different additives. Or when you put it in a living being, a mouse, even humans. Like there are recent studies showing that guar gum and santan gum are really bad for the digestive system of some people. And I would say that in the long term for most people, you know. So yeah, like, you know, these are very different ideas that I have been studying. I will talk more about it. I'm just trying to give information away. Don't believe everything I say or anything. Just read. Like you have Google Scholar, you have posts, you can search for like carnivore diet videos and the testimonies, or ketogenic diet videos, or the GAPS diet. Maybe search for literature with Thomas Seyfried from Boston or Chicago, Boston, I think, the College of Boston, I think. You can search different sources and see what what sticks, what works for you. Like, trust in your gut. Like, just don't be blinded. Just try to make sense of the things that you read with your own experience. Like, have you noticed that when you don't need enough protein, enough eggs or meat, you are hungry all the time? Like just think of your own experience, and that's about it. Like, it's just information. Like, I don't have the truth of the world. I'm just talking about what I am studying, and like, I cannot educate. Educating is a long process. This is just giving information, and like, I wish you the best. God bless you. Christ bless you. Amen. Goodbye.